Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we've got a lot to discuss. The Orioles win in today's game on a beautiful Friday afternoon, or beautiful Friday night, I should say. The Orioles win in the series opener against the Rays, 22-8. The Orioles win this game 22-8. In the series opener against the Rays. The Orioles are up 1-0 in this series against the Rays. The Orioles put up 22 runs in this game, and this game was an absolute roller coaster from the start. The Orioles were down 6-0 early. They were down 6-0. Tomoyuki Sugano had a very bad start to this game. He did not have a good start at all, and the Orioles offense was able to fight back into this game, get back into it, eventually take the lead, and then once they took an 8-7 lead, they did not look back at all. And the Orioles offense just kept hitting all day long, every single inning, all night long. The Orioles were hitting the hell out of that baseball, and they win this game 22-8. This is the second most runs scored by a team in the major leagues this season, and we just so happen to have the most runs scored against us this season. So obviously, if you go back to when the Cincinnati Reds put up 24 runs against the Orioles, that was the most amount of runs scored this season, and the Orioles just scored the second most amount of runs in a single game this season. So the Orioles have scored the second most and been scored the most against in terms of single game runs scored. So very interesting statistic for the Orioles there. But again, this was an absolutely enormous win for the Orioles. This is by far the best win of the season that they've had all year. This is also by far the most amount of runs they've put up in a game. They literally doubled it. The most amount of runs they put up in a game before this game was 11 runs, and they go out there and put up 22 runs in this game. So many players in this game had incredible days on offense. Kobe Mayo hit his first major league home run off of a position player in the eighth inning, which was so cool to see him get his first homer. Position player or not, it's still his first home run, which we're going to celebrate. Multiple home runs hit in this game. Jackson Holliday had one. Gary Sanchez had one. Obviously, Kobe Mayo had one. Multiple base hits in this game, obviously. And the pitching, gave up 8 runs, which isn't necessarily ideal, but when you put up 22 runs, those 8 runs really, it looks like nothing. Majority of those runs that were given up by the Orioles were because of Tomoyuki Sugano. He did not have a good start to this game, but this Orioles offense really came to play tonight, and again, they were down 6-0 early, and then it was an absolute slaughter from the third inning on. Again, this Orioles offense did not give up. They did not back down. And again, this was one of the very few times in the season where a starting pitcher for the Orioles has an atrocious start to the game early on. First few innings, you're already down 6-0. And usually a lot of the time, pretty much all the time this season, the Orioles have kind of just rolled over and died and lost the game from them. Or lost the game right there, including myself. I thought the exact same thing. When we were down 6-0 in the top of the second inning, I kind of had this game over. I even said, if you go look at my Twitter, if you go look, click the link in bio of whatever platform you're listening on, you can check out my Twitter. I'd be live tweeting every single Orioles game, any sort of Ravens news as well. But on my Twitter, I was literally saying, get him tomorrow. Good game, get him tomorrow. Because we have not seen from the Orioles at all this season where their starting pitcher has a super bad start. Giving up 7 runs is a super bad start. Where their starting pitcher is a super bad start, and then they haven't been able to come back at all this season. There's never been a game where the offense has been able to explode like they did today. And they absolutely exploded today. An incredible game. Obviously, if you're an Orioles fan, it was an amazing game. If you're a Rays fan, it wasn't so much of a great game. The Rays had a chance today to get first place in the American League East. If the Yankees lost and the if the Yankees lost and the Rays won, then the Rays would have actually taken first place in the American League East. So it's a battle right now between the Yankees and the Rays right now. But it looks like we did the Yankees a favor today, getting a huge win, and I mean huge win over the Rays. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. Going over this Rays and Orioles game, obviously when you look at the box score, it is ridiculous. 22-8 win over the Rays. The Orioles record moves to 35-46 on the season. They're back to being 11 games below 500. They still got a ton of work to do. Obviously, in yesterday's episode, I did a 45-minute yap session, kind of just the state of the team right now of the Orioles and what they should do moving forward. And even after the performance today, I don't think that my stance changes because it's just one game. And something that this Orioles team has done a lot this year is really bait everybody to thinking that things are well, and then they kind of just do a full 180. So if the Orioles can keep this up the next two games, which I'm confident that they can do, because again, they did get to Tampa's bullpen extremely early in this game, and they really got to Tampa's bullpen in this game in general. So I really do think that they're going to have the advantage the rest of the series in terms of pitching. We're going to by far have the advantage pitching-wise in this series, at least overall pitching with the bullpen included, because the bullpen got extremely taxed for Tampa today. The bullpen for the Orioles got taxed a little bit, but not anything too crazy at all. The Orioles actually only ended up using 4 pitchers in this game. Shout out Tomoyuki Sagano, who did not have a good start at all today, but he was able to push 5 innings, which is really nice to see. But again, this was a huge win for the Orioles. Going over the offense, 21 total hits in this game. They also got walked 8 times. 21 hits, 8 walks. They scored 22 total runs in this game. They hit 4 home runs as a team. If you go over to the runners in scoring position statistic, it's actually insane. They went 10 for 21 with runners in scoring position, and they left 9 guys on base. So they still left a good amount of guys on base, but that doesn't matter when you score 22 runs in a game. An absolute slaughter fest from this Orioles offense today. And going over everybody on this Orioles team, not everybody actually got a hit this game. There was some pinch hitters in this game. But starting off with your leadoff guy, Jackson Holliday in this game, only gets 1 hit in this game. He goes 1 for 7. 7 at-bats for Jackson Holliday is insane to see. But Jackson Holliday in this game goes 1 for 7 with a solo home run. That home run happened in the 8th inning. So Jackson Holliday only gets 1 hit today. Among all of the hits that happened today, Jackson only got 1 hit, but it was a home run, and I actually think that was his it was his 16th home run overall in his career, and it was his 10th home run of the season. So Jackson Holliday getting his 10th home run of the season, first time being double digits in his career. Obviously, he is still 21 years old. Most likely, very well could be the starting second baseman at the All-Star game. We'll see what happens with that. But Jackson Holliday goes 1 for 7 in this game with a solo home run. You'd love to see it from him. His average does go down tonight because he does only go 1 for 7, but still gets that solo home run. Jordan Westburg was batting second in this game, and unfortunately he did have to get taken out of the game in this second inning due to him re-aggravating that finger injury. Obviously, Jordan Westburg came back from IL originally, and then he kind of hurt his finger. Then he had to go back on IL. Then he came back from IL, and now... he didn't go on IL, actually. He was kind of just holding off for a few games because of a finger injury, because of how he was sliding to the base. And then he came back from that injury, less than a week ago. And now again today, Jordan Westburg re-aggravated that same injury that he just had that kept him out for a few games. So Jordan Westburg, slid into second wrong. He goes 1 for 1 in this game with a double. But again, just does not... the Orioles in this season in terms of sliding into bases have really been a problem. Obviously, Colton Cowser fractured his thumb earlier in this season because of him sliding into first base and, his thumb getting messed up. And then Jordan Westburg this season twice recently actually, twice in the past couple of weeks, he has messed up his finger sliding into the bag. So hopefully this isn't anything too serious for Jordan. He did get taken out of the game early, so hopefully he can avoid going on IL. Because again, we're going to need Jordan around, man. He's an extremely important hitter. And while he didn't really do anything today for the Orioles hitting, we're still going to need him overall. Jordan's one of the main pieces of this team, and hopefully he can avoid the IL list. Maybe if he has to sit out a couple games, that's okay, but as long as he doesn't have to go on IL, or as long as it's nothing serious, then that will be okay. But Ramon Urias did actually get the pinch hit in this game, and Ramon Urias, as a pinch-hitting third baseman in this game, was not in the lineup today at all because Jordan Westbrook was the starting third baseman. Ramon comes in because of the Jordan injury, and Ramon Urias, as a pinch hitter, goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs scored. So not a bad day for a pinch hitter, not a bad day for somebody who didn't even think they were going to get, 4 at-bats in this game. He ends up getting 3 hits in this game, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored for himself. Shout out to Ramon Urias, came out there and came to play. 266 average on the season for him. And then Gunnar Henderson in this game. Gunnar home runs are back, ladies and gentlemen. Gunnar in this game goes 4 for 6, scores 2 runs, gets 2 RBIs, and has a homer. It was a 2-run home run for Gunnar Henderson. Those were it's where the 2 RBIs were from and one of the runs. But 4 hits for Gunnar, a 2-run homer for him as well in the 8th inning. Gunnar home runs are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have been waiting quite a while. It's been a pretty long time since Gunnar Henderson has last hit a home run. We can actually go and check real quick. When was the last time Gunnar hit a home run before today? That was all the way back at the beginning of the month on the 5th of June. He went 1 for 4 in that game against Seattle where he had a solo home run in that game. But Gunnar Henderson finally gets back on the board with home runs. I think that is his 9th of the season. So shout out to Gunnar Henderson. Back on the home run, getting another home run, which is really nice to see. It's been a very long time. It's been, almost a full month since Gunner's last homered. And again, we know Gunnar is someone who can hit quite a few home runs. Obviously, he had 37 last year. I don't think he's going to get close to 37 this year just because of the way things have been going. But he does get his 9th homer of the year. And it was a big 2-run homer to extend the lead even more in the 8th inning. So shout out to Gunnar. 4 hits in this game, averages almost up to a 280 on the year, which you'd like to see from Gunnar. That's the Gunnar that we know and love. Ryan O'Hearn in this game, Rhino All-Star, as I should say. He's going to be the starting designated hitter for the All-Star game. I'm sure he's going to get the vote over Ben Rice. But Ryan O'Hearn in this game goes 0 for 4, actually. He's one of the only Orioles in this game that started and does not get a hit. Actually, he's the only Oriole in this game who started and did not get a hit. Ryan O'Hearn goes 0 for 4 with 2 runs scored and gets on base twice with 2 walks as well. So not a completely bad game for Ryan O'Hearn. Again, doesn't get a hit, but does score 2 runs off of the 2 walks that he got on base with in the game. His average does drop below 300 for the first time in quite a while. His average is down to a 296, which is obviously still the best on the team. But, seeing Ryan O'Hearn in the 300s was, really something cool to see. Speaking of another slaughter going on in baseball, the Phillies are up 11-0 against the Braves right now. I just had to point that out. It's out at the top of my screen. But, yeah, Ryan O'Hearn doesn't get a hit, unfortunate. But, he's going to be fine. We all know Ryan O'Hearn's having an amazing year. He was hitting the ball hard, just couldn't necessarily get any of the balls through, but everything's going to be good with that. Ramon Laureano in this game, he goes 2 for 4 with 4 runs scored. He also got on base twice with 2 walks. So 4 total bases reached for Ramon Laureano. Goes 2 for 4 with 2 walks, 2 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. Shout out to Ramon Laureano. He continues to have a very underrated season for the Orioles. Dylan Carlson comes into the game as a pinch hitter. He doesn't get a hit. Colton Cowser in this game goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 walks and 4 runs scored. Again, there's a lot of Orioles that are going to have a lot of runs scored and a lot of RBIs in this game because when you score 22 runs, that's what's going to happen. So Colton Cowser gets a 3-hit day. I think this is his second 3-hit game of the season. He had one a lot earlier in the year as well. But Colton Cowser's average, just like less than 2 weeks ago, is sitting around like a 185, 190. And now it is up to a 241. So shout out to Colton Cowser. The milkman is back in business, ladies and gentlemen. He goes 3 for 4 in this game. 2 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 runs scored. Amazing game from Colton. Amazing game from like everyone on the Orioles today, pretty much. Like when you score 22 runs, that's what's going to happen. But we've got to talk about this next guy, man. Gary Sanchez was catching in this game. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. He has been the biggest surprise for the Orioles over the last week or so. Over really the last 2 weeks. Ever since he's come back from the IL with that wrist injury, he has been absolutely smashing baseballs to the moon. Gary Sanchez in this game goes 4 for 5 with 3 runs scored, 4 RBIs, and a home run and a walk. 4 hits, a home run, 4 RBIs, 3 walks. An absolutely insane game from Gary Sanchez, who has been, again, hitting the hell out of baseball since he's come back from that injury, that wrist injury. He's been amazing. And again, Gary Sanchez is now your, pretty much everyday catcher with Adley out with the injury. Adley's not going to come back until after All-Star break. We heard this from Tony Mansolino. So Adley's not going to be back for a while. But Gary Sanchez playing that every single day catcher duty. Maybe not every single day. Obviously, Chadwick Thromp coming in every so often. But Gary Sanchez is the main catcher for the Orioles right now. And ever since Adley's gotten hurt, Gary Sanchez has been going insane. He's had multiple home runs over the past few weeks, and ridiculous amount of RBIs and a ridiculous amount of hits as well. And Gary Sanchez's average, I think when he came back from the injury, was like a 160 or something like that, maybe even less than that. And Gary Sanchez's average as of right now is sitting at a 250 average with a 453 slug. That is incredible from Gary Sanchez, and he just needs to keep it up, man, because he's been playing fantastic, and he's somebody that can really come in handy, maybe as a potential DH option later once Adley comes back. And I don't know, man. Gary Sanchez has honestly done more, and I said this earlier on my Twitter, and I don't know if this is controversial or not, but Gary Sanchez really has done more over the past week and a half or so than Adley has done all year for the Orioles. Adley has obviously struggled a lot this season, but what Gary Sanchez has been doing is what we honestly expect for what Adley to be doing. Adley's usually the guy, going out there getting 3, 4, sometimes even 5 hits in a game. But Gary Sanchez has been that guy taking over that role. So shout out to Gary Sanchez. Obviously, Adley's still Adley Rutschman. We still love him. He's still an incredible player. But he has been struggling. Obviously, he does get hurt, but it's really cool to see Gary Sanchez go out here and do what he's doing. Cedric Mullins in this game goes 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run scored. And then Kobe Mayo goes 2 for 6. Kobe Mayo goes 2 for 6 with 4 RBIs and a home run and 2 runs scored. His homer was a 2-run home run, and he also had a 2-run double. So those are where his 4 RBIs came from. Again, 2 hits in this game, gets 2 runs scored, 4 RBIs, and a home run. So he gets his RBI, his single game RBI record, and he also gets his first major league home run. It was off of a position player, which at the end of the day, that's going to happen sometimes in baseball, but it's really cool to see Kobe Mayo get his first home run. He deserves it, man. Again, one of the top prospects for the Orioles. He is no longer eligible to be a prospect because he's played enough games in the majors already, but Kobe Mayo is somebody who has struggled quite a bit, as we know, in his early comings with the Orioles last season and at the beginning of this year, and it's so cool to see him go out there and get his first major league home run and also 4 RBIs in a game. That's a very big deal. But going over to the pitching in this game, obviously Tomoyuki Sugano does go out there and not have the greatest game ever, but the biggest thing for me with Tomoyuki Sugano is the fact that he was able to go 5 innings in this game. Even with giving up the amount of runs that he did, he was able to push 5 innings, which is really cool to see, and it did save our bullpen quite a bit in this game. Obviously, this was a blowout. If you go back to the Orioles offense, in the second inning, we put up 4 runs. Then we put up a run in the third. We didn't put up a run in the fourth, and then we put up 3 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, 4 in the seventh, and 7 in the 8th inning. So the offense through innings 5 through 8 were absolutely ridiculous. But Tomoyuki Sugano obviously does not have a great game today, but Tomoyuki Sugano actually gets credited the win in this game. And this might be the first time in my life I've ever seen a pitcher get credited the win when they gave up 7 runs in a game. So Tomoyuki Sugano gets the start today, obviously. He goes 5 innings, gives up 9 hits, a walk, 7 runs, and 3 homers in this game. Again, 9 hits, 7 runs. Only has 2 strikeouts in the process and 3 home runs given up in this game with the walk as well. An 86 pitch count across 5 innings. His ERA does balloon up to a 4. This is the first time that it has been at a 4 all season long. And Tomo's ERA was sitting at a low 3 for most of the season, and now all of a sudden it is sitting at a low 4, which you don't like to see from Tomoyuki Sugano. Did he deserve the win in this game? No. Obviously, I mean, he gave up 9 hits and 7 runs. He does not deserve the win in this game, but the Orioles offense was able to blow them out so badly that since Tomo was able to go 5 innings in this game, he did get granted the win. So shout out to Tomoyuki Sugano for getting the win, but hopefully he can, settle down, chill out, and not give up 7 runs the next start, because this was by far his worst start of the season so far. Giving up 7 runs on 9 hits is not ideal at all, but hopefully he can regroup by his next start and things will be good to go. And I'm not going to lie, Tomoyuki Sugano, he should take the offense out for dinner tonight and buy them all nice 5-star steaks, because this offense had Tomo's back in this game. Obviously, Tomo had a bad start, but the Orioles offense was able to respond by putting up 22 runs in this game and making that bad start not even matter. So shout out to them. Sir Anthony Dominguez doesn't give up a run. Keegan Aiken gives up a run, and then Cade Stroud does not give up a run in this game. So the bullpen did its thing. But the biggest thing in this game with the pitching is that the Orioles only had to use 4 pitchers in this game, while the Rays had to technically use 6 pitchers. Obviously, Caballero is a position player, so I'm not really going to count him as a pitcher. But the Rays used 6 pitchers in this game. So in game 1 of the series, of this weekend series, in game 1, the Orioles were already able to hammer away at the Rays bullpen, which is really good for the rest of this weekend series moving forward, because the Orioles should have the bullpen advantage in terms of, rest for the rest of the series. So hopefully they can take advantage of that, and hopefully they can just win minimum 1 of the next 2. Obviously, when they put up 22 runs in a game, I hope that they can sweep this Rays team now that they got this bullpen down as much as they could. But the most important thing for the Orioles over the next 2 games is that they get to the bullpen as quick as they can over the next 2 games, because I think that's going to maximize their opportunity to win these games. Tomorrow it is going to be Zach Littell versus Zach Eflin. Zach versus Zach, one with a K, one with a C. Obviously, Zach Eflin used to play for the Rays. His last start against Tampa was not good at all. I think he gave up 7 runs on 12 hits or something. It was horrible. But hopefully Zach Eflin can have a bounce-back game, because he has had a few really bad starts in a row. His ERA has gone all the way up to a 5.46, which is actually one of the worst ERAs for a starting pitcher from the Orioles. So someone who you rely on a lot. He's had a few bad starts. His ERA has ballooned up a lot. So hopefully Zach Eflin can have a big bounce-back game tomorrow, and that's what we're looking for. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, and whatever platform you're listening on, make sure to click the link in the bio, follow up on the Twitter, follow the Instagram, and posting updates on both of those platforms, so make sure to give those both a follow. Make sure to like the video, subscribe on YouTube, and give this channel a follow on Spotify if you're listening from there. Again, this was a huge win for the Orioles, a little bit longer than of a video than I usually do for these recaps, but again, the Orioles put up 22 runs in this game. It was an absolute blowout win, and with the video that I put up yesterday, talking about the Orioles' struggles and what they should do the rest of the year and giving my honest opinions about the team, I don't know who on the team heard it, but they had a little bit of extra motivation in today's game, obviously putting up 22 runs, which was so cool to see. By far the most fun Orioles game to watch all season, and by far the best win of the season by the Orioles. But again, this was just one win. They got a lot of work to do, so hopefully they can go out there tomorrow and Sunday and sweep this team and move on throughout the season, because at this point in the year, a sweep would really do wonders for this Orioles team, so hopefully they can get that done. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow talking about Game 2 of this series. Hopefully the Orioles can win tomorrow and win the series, and we move on from there. I'll see you on the next one. You have a great Orioles day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see you later. Peace out.